Fuck you, Lucky Charms.
Yes, indeed. Fuck you, Lucky Charms. Best line in the whole movie.
You and I have unfinished business.
Oh? And what's so stinking about it?
Una patriot feeling, spiritus sancti.
I think this just might be my masterpiece.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Average Joe's Movie Clubcast presents Schlock Talk, where we watch hot-ass trash so you don't have to. As always, I am your host, Joey, and this time I'm joined by my special guest host, my good friend,
Rosa, hello.
Alrighty, her first time on here, so we're going to get her some questions and ask her some cool stuff, but we are going to be delving into pretty schlocky movie, maybe a little less schlocky than the rest, but we are going to delve into the 1993 horror film Leprechaun.
Fuck you, Lucky Charms.
Yes, indeed. Fuck you, Lucky Charms. Best line in the whole movie.
Yes.
So this is probably going to come out a little bit after Halloween. We are recording before Halloween, so we're still hitting the horror movies up here pretty well. So I think for all of my guests that I've had on here so far, you are definitely the one that has the most opposing taste from me. I think our tastes are maybe further apart than mine and Justin's. We have the one, like, a little spot where we overlap, and everything else, it's kind of
Not quite opposite, but just, like, not in the same realm at all.
yes, like, to the point of we made a deal for me to watch like one movie in exchange for you to watch four, yeah. and then it ended up being like 6 for 3 or something. So it ended up being, but that was how bad you wanted to get me to watch some movies and were willing, because you're like, I'll watch all these gangster movies, and so I had to watch all these British movies.
Because it was a shame you'd never seen them.
It was a shame I had never seen Hot Fuzz, but it wasn't a shame that you had never seen The Godfather. Or Goodfellas.
Yeah.
No. But those are all much better films than the shit we're talking about on here. But, so what was your introduction to, like, this kind of movie? Just, the B horror movie, the schlocky, like, what's your relationship there?
That started when I was really, really young. I was an insomniac even back then, and my dad would fall asleep in the living room with, like, movie channels on from, like, stolen cable. And so I would go in there, and that's what would be playing, is, like, shit like this. And so I just was introduced really young. And then in high school, the guy I was dating was really into, like, 80s slashers and all kinds of, like, horror movies and stuff, so we would watch those all the time, and I ended up really loving it.
So who I'm thinking it is?
Ronnie. I don't think you ever knew him.
Okay.
Ronnie.
So it was different. Not
the other one.
Okay. Cool. All right. So that being said, I have a sneaking suspicion that I know some of these or most of these answers, but we'll get the let my huge constituent of listeners find out as well. What would be your favorite genre of movie?
Obviously horror or sci-fi, fantasy-ish.
Yep. Not even a little bit of a shocker.
No.
All right, so we got horror / sci-fi, fantasy, all that good stuff. what is your favorite movie?
Shaun of the Dead. Horror comedy. British. I mean, it's Simon Pegg. Zombies. That's everything I love.
Again, not even remotely a shocker.
Yeah.
Thought maybe you would curveball it with like Ginger Snaps or something, but...
I mean, Ginger Snaps is way up there. That's definitely top 5. It might be like number 3 or 4-ish.
I mean,
So.
it's a better werewolf movie than an American Werewolf in London, so hot take.
Well, actually, you know what? I would agree with that.
Yeah, but we're like the only people that would.
I mean, yeah. But
I mean,
Ginger Snaps has a pretty big cult following, so...
Yeah, I mean, it's much better than boring Werewolf in London.
Hey, now. It's not boring.
Oh, bro, that movie was so boring.
We'll have to have another episode on werewolf movies then and discuss that shit.
All right. Moving on. Your favorite director.
This one, I actually had to do a little bit of research because I don't normally pay attention to like directors and producers and stuff. So based on just the number of movies that I've watched and enjoyed from these directors, I'd have to say it's either James Wan or Wes Craven.
Okay, I was definitely expecting a different answer there.
Yeah.
But Wes Craven, I mean, he's one of the kings of horror. That's not even a little bit shocking that you would pick him.
Yeah, I mean, the one horror movie I think we can agree on is Scream, and I adore Scream, so I mean, gotta go with that.
Yeah, well, Scream is, the best horror movie.
One of, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right. I know this is another one that you probably... Well, I have an idea, but your favorite actor and or actress.
Okay. Adam Driver, obviously. Or Benedict Cumberbatch. Or Simon Pegg.
Okay, there we go. That was...
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I know your thirst for Adam Driver.
Yeah.
You're probably over here in your head trying to write a way for Kylo to not be a murderer. And for him to end up with you instead of Rey.
Pretty much. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean... That's fair. You want... Never mind. We're not...
We'll keep it family friendly.
Shit.
All right.
Fuck you, Lucky Charms, 2 seconds in.
That's family. I mean, the kid said it, so
I mean, the kid did say it. I think there was supposed to be some shock value there.
Yeah.
All right. And then the first movie that, was more than just a movie, whether it struck to you in some way or it was like, oh, then this is artistic or, whatever.
I would say Titanic, but I think really the one that hit me hardest might be Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, actually.
Okay.
Saw that a long time ago, and it's stuck with me over the years, like, as just being really beautiful.
For sure. That came out when we were in high school, right?
I think so. Something like that.
As if not in very shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
All right, and then the last one. What is the first movie you remember watching at the theater?
Independence Day.
Oh, ID4. Okay.
Yeah. Old Will Smith.
Another hot take. The movie's fucking overrated as hell. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know if there's a lot of hype around it.
Oh no, there are people can't say negative things about that movie. Will Smith's great. They I think the only thing that was cool about that movie is where they showed a laser blowing up the White House. Like that was cool as hell. But that movie, overrated. AF, my opinion. At me if you want. I don't really care.
That's fair.
So, that being said, we're going to move into the main event of the evening. And that is, like I said, the 1993 horror film Leprechaun. Noted for, let's see, it spawned about 6 sequels. This was also Jennifer Aniston in her film debut. So, if for some reason you don't immediately recognize that name, I mean, she's most well known for being Rachel Green in Friends. She was in Horrible Bosses 2, but I mean, Friends is her claim to fame.
Yeah.
Easily.
I don't really know her from anything else other than Friends and now this. So.
Yeah. And she had some other movies here and there. I think she's had a couple movies with Adam Sandler, I think. I haven't seen them, but I've seen them, like, the posters and all that kind of stuff. So, All right, so this actually, on this podcast, this will be the highest budgeted movie that I've watched so far. It came in at just $1 million. Now, $1 million in the 90s was definitely a lot more money than $1 million would be now, but that was still not a lot of money to make a movie. You can definitely tell in the movie. Now, it doesn't look as bad as something like Lamageddon from episode 2, where they had like a $3,000 budget.
Oh my god.
And I think they spent all of that on Bush beer for the party. It did make $8.6 million in the box office, so that's quite a return on your investment.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they tried to make this movie now and wanted to use Jennifer Aniston, it would be a lot.
Oh god, yeah.
That
would be.
She was making $1 million an episode for like 2 seasons.
Yeah. It's like the entire budget is just her.
Right? They're like, we have no money for effects. We have no. Is Expendables 3? They spent all of their money on actors and had no money for effects.
Yes. Can't even write a script, no plot, nothing. Just put her on screen.
It's like, wait a minute, she's just standing there. And then all of a sudden, fuck you, Lucky Charms.
Yes, that's it. That's all you need.
So there's nothing really, I don't think, the other thing, they did have a big marketing campaign, which I guess went into that $1 million, with the NBA, the American Stock Exchange. They did try to get some, marketing deals with, corporate Domino's and Subway, but apparently ended up just getting them with individual franchises. The other one that, is of note is in a scene they're eating, instead of Lucky Charms, it's Lucky Clovers, I think is what it was called.
Lucky Clover.
So Lucky Charms was going to let them use them, and they backed out at the last minute. So there is a scene at the end of the movie where the kid, he takes a 4-leaf clover, he wraps it in a piece of gum, puts it in a slingshot. Fuck you, Lucky Charms! Puts it right in the leprechaun's mouth. So not only did it sound cool because, hey, he's a leprechaun, it was just, a big old shot at General Mills. Mm-hmm. So, yes.
I think the one-liners are my favorite part of this movie.
The one-liners or how many vehicles the leprechaun had?
Both.
Because that is easily the best part, I think, is how many vehicles the leprechaun had. Because... let's see. He had the little miniature tricycle.
The tricycle.
Then he got the
little toy car,
the little
yellow one.
Yep. And then it got turned into like a demolition derby car with metal and a pitchfork, and it knocked over a full size 80s model pickup truck. Just
not even going fast or anything.
Yeah.
Just knocked it and somehow sent it flying down a hill. And then the roller skates. Yeah,
that had a Back to the Future vibe to me there, because he just kind of appeared right behind the thing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he slides and he Kool-Aid Man's a picket fence. So the comedic parts of this movie were way better than any of the horror parts, to me at least.
Yes.
Oh, and let's not forget, before we get sidetracked, the wheelchair.
Oh, yes.
That he was using going down a street as fast as Jennifer Aniston in a Jeep. I don't think he had any other vehicles. I think that was it.
I think so, unless you count the skateboard that he was using in the hallway.
Oh, I mean, there was a skateboard. Oh, and and he traveled all the way from Ireland to Montana. No, not Montana. North Dakota. Which is
or
not
New Mexico, is what she was going to say.
Yes, it's not New Mexico, it's North Dakota, and it wasn't Beverly Hills. We found that was very clear. Yeah. It's not Beverly Hills. They didn't have any Evian water.
Oh, God. Or watercress.
Or watercress salad.
God forbid.
Yeah, but they had a lot of fucking gravy on Homeboys.
That shit was swimming in gravy.
Bruh. Look, I'm a fat man. I like gravy, but that was... You heard of a gravy boat. That was definitely a gravy ship. Boy. But anywho, so for those that are not familiar, we'll run through this plot pretty quickly, I think. So you got an old dude at the beginning. He shows up. He's very Irish. His wife's like, "What are you doing spending money on a limo?" And he's, drank a whole bottle of Jameson, which they show you kind of the end of the bottle, and then they show it again at the front. So you never see the word Jameson, but they give it to you.
You You kind of did when when it landed on the ground.
Yeah, kind of, but they weren't like, look, this is sponsored by Jameson.
Fair, yeah.
But, they had to lay you into the Irish stereotypes. Fucking cunts. But he's all like, yeah, I caught a leprechaun, and I took his gold, and those are the rules. And then the leprechaun was in a suitcase, and killed his wife, and he gets him locked into a crate, and uses the power of a 4-leaf clover to hold him in the crate, just by putting it on top.
Mm-hmm. With like 3 nails.
Yeah, he put like 3 nails. I assume it's supposed to be more, they just kind of shortcutted it. But then he's like, oh, you're going to have a stroke. And so I guess he used the last bit of his power underneath the 4-leaf clover to cause the man to have a stroke. Very much implied that he is dead as fuck. And we fast forward 10 years, and we're in the Jeep, and it's Jennifer Aniston and her pops, and she's complaining about being in New Mexico, and then he's like, no, it's North Dakota. And they go, and oh, lo and behold, they're in the O'Grady house. Mm-hmm. And there's spiders and spider webs and cobwebs everywhere. And she's all like, hey, I'm piecing the fuck out, until she runs into the painting guy. And clearly she is thirsty, because all of a sudden she's like, oh, I'm not scared, I'll stay. What are you talking about?
I mean, you have to like kind of talk yourself up a bit when the hot painter dude calls you a pussy, basically.
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, all of a sudden she's like, it's clearly just blatantly obvious. I'm not scared. It's all good. I'll go in the basement with you. Yeah. And then we've got the little kid who's part of the painting crew. We've got the guy. I guess he's supposed to be mentally challenged in some way, is the kind of what they're implying. But he's all, oh, leprechauns are real, UFOs are real, XYZ magical things, they're real. Mm-hmm. And everyone's like, hey man, shut the hell up. We don't want to hear this anymore. Blah blah blah. And he ends up actually being the one who finds the leprechaun after Jennifer Aniston wakes it up by dropping glasses of tea on it through the crate. Not even hot tea. No. It was iced tea. God, I hope there was sugar in that.
I mean, considering it was North Dakota, probably not.
Oh, God. Well, they're not... I mean, that's the North, but that's not like the North.
Fair, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. For anybody who lives in the North and you don't drink sugar in your tea, we make fun of you. And I get it. Y'all make fun of us because we drink our tea cold. Whatever, it's fine. It'll be okay. But then so now the leprechaun's awake. No one believes conspiracy theory guy. And now the leprechaun is outside. He scratches Jennifer Aniston's leg, and then it bites her dad's hand. Oh, he can mimic voices. That's kind of another. He mimics everything. Yeah. Little kids, voices of his victims, animals. But all he wants is his gold. And then a rainbow appears out of nowhere in the middle of the sky in North Dakota with no rain. Just a rainbow. And no one thinks it's sus.
Yeah, the only one that said anything was Ozzy. He was like, oh, it's a magic rainbow. Which, fair enough, it actually was.
I mean, yeah.
But everybody else was just like, no, this is normal.
Yeah, and not one of the rainbows where you're like, oh, it's kind of over here and here. No, it's a big, just full-on, full-blown... Here's a rainbow. So they follow it to the end because, that's possible. Mm-hmm. And they find an old rusted out truck with a bag of gold. And somehow Ozzy swallows a gold piece, trying to test out if the gold is actual gold.
Still don't understand how that happens, how it goes from just barely touching your teeth to suddenly down your throat, but whatever.
Yeah, no, I don't understand either. It beats the hell out of me. There's a joke in there somewhere, I'm sure, but we're just... That's not what we're here for.
We'll save that for Jennifer Aniston and Painter Dude to figure out. Yes,
indeed. I mean, I just kept waiting for Ross to come up. People like, why are you talking to this guy?
We're on a break.
Then she would oh, we're on a break, motherfucker. Fuck you, Lucky Charms. Okay, so now I guess this is now... Yeah, they all end up in the truck to take Bitten Man to the hospital, right? And they already have the gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
They found the gold, and then, like, while Ozzy and the kid were finding the gold, that's when the whole shit with the leg and then the biting happened. And they all just happened to, like, Ozzy and the kid happened to show up as they were trying to get into the car and stuff.
Yeah, so there's 5 of them. This is just a regular cab truck. So you got the kid and Ozzy in the back of the truck. So that's how you know it's in the 90s. People are riding in the back of trucks. Mm-hmm. Something I did a whole bunch when I was a kid. Never thought about it.
Yeah.
Now, if someone made a movie now and they put kids in the back, they'd fucking freak the hell out. But I don't know what they'd freak out about more worse. That or later in the movie when there's 4 of them in the cab and the kid is in Ozzy's lap. And there's no seatbelts. No one's putting seatbelts on. They're just... Well, they care about that. They don't ever care about anybody just, swinging around shotguns or anything. So,
oh, no, because guns are fine.
Yeah, in North Dakota especially.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, well, and then, where we live.
Yeah.
Deep in the heart of Dixie.
Fucking hell.
So they go to the hospital, and some more shit happens. I don't really remember here what there's.
They get the dad into the hospital, and then the Ozzy and the kid go to the shop to try and find out if the gold is real or not.
Yes.
And that's
the leprechaun comes out of the safe.
Yes.
Don't know how he got there.
He somehow also followed them on that tricycle.
Well, yeah, but we saw him. He just kept up at the same speed as a truck. They, I'm sure we're not driving the speed limit on them country roads in North Dakota. North Dakota, take me home. Wait, that's not quite right. Yeah. And so then we see Jennifer Anniston and Painter Guy eating the meal where she's complaining about not getting Evian and watercress, and he's just got his mashed potatoes and
gravy soup,
a pork chop or a hamburger steak.
I think it was meatloaf.
Meatloaf, yeah. Just covered in gravy. And then we get back to the house. And then they have more shenanigans with the leprechaun. This is the majority of the movie. Now we're just shenanigans with the leprechaun. The leprechaun, unlike most other horror movies, he doesn't really kill a lot of people.
No.
So he kills O'Grady later on in the rest home. He kills one of the sheriffs. He killed O'Grady's wife at the beginning, but he hurt her dad. He hurt her.
He killed the shopkeeper with the pogo stick.
That's true. He did kill him with the pogo stick.
That might be one of the most interesting kills I've seen.
Yeah, he said some quippy one-liner there, but I don't remember what it is now. Because all of them got erased by "Fuck You, Lucky Charms." Oh man, I'm glad I don't edit this for YouTube with all the beeps. Boy, we'd be up there. Yeah. We'd be up there already. So.
Yeah, that's at the house is when shit starts getting real, and they're just like fighting him constantly because he just keeps popping up. I want me gold.
Yeah, I want me gold. And this is where he ends up with the car out of the barn, the metal. So they end up concocting this. Paint Boy gets up on a bear trap, and they manage to chase him away, the leprechaun. And now they've got a shotgun, and they've shot him, and they don't shoot him in the head.
Yeah, they shot him once, and he crawled back into the bushes, and he keeps shooting, but doesn't actually land anything.
Yeah, and then later it's like, I think he's dead. It's like just rule number 2. Always rule number 2. I don't understand what it is. Rule number 2, double tap.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have worked based on, what we found out has to kill him, which is a 4-leaf clover. I'm pretty sure disintegrating someone's head with buckshot does the trick in most cases.
Yeah, I don't think he'd be able to reattach it like he did his hand.
Yeah, that's right, because he gets his hand closed in the door. He gets his eye poked out with a billy club later and just rips the dead cop's eye out and puts his eye in its place. An eye for an eye. Oh.
He also put the other favorite line I think for me was when he gets his hand on the stove and then goes, "We're cooking now."
Oh right, we're cooking now. Oh man. I will say Warwick Davis, just even though he had to ham it up, he hammed it up. He was maybe the best part of the whole movie.
Oh, for sure.
He had all the good lines. I mean, obviously Jennifer Aniston, she's hot. It's Jennifer Aniston. That's what she does. Like, whatever.
He made things interesting, though. He brought a lot of life to it, and it was just fucking hilarious.
Yes, indeed. It was definitely hilarious. I was not expecting that kind of comedy. So the first time he comes out on the tricycle, I'm kind of like, what in the fuck? And then there's the car, and I'm like, okay. And it just kind of just keeps progressing, and it's more and more ridiculous. Like, he's chasing her through the nursing home, and he's in the wheelchair. And you could just see him where he's, like, trying to, like, stop the brake so it makes it look like he's, like, you know, power sliding around corners and shit. And I'm just like, bruh, this dude thinks it's Mario Kart. New character in Mario Kart.
You gotta do that drift, yeah.
Yeah, new character. I mean, it's all about drifting in Mario Kart, so that's a new character. Not Lucky Charms, the Leprechaun. Well,
Yes.
but I'm a Leprechaun, of course. They just want me gold. And they actually give him the gold. And he's all happy, and they think it's done, and then he realizes there's still one piece missing, which is in Ozzy's stomach. And at one point, they distract him by throwing, like, high heels at him. That's how she gets away to go to the nursing home.
Yeah.
Because he's a shoe keeper by trade. And he has to, like, stop and, like, clean everybody's shoes.
Yeah, anytime he sees a shoe, he has to stop and shine it.
Yeah, he pulls his buckle off of his shoe and is, like, cutting Ozzy up with it at the end right before he's trying to get the gold coin out of his gut, which then leads us to the infamous that we've mentioned 100 times already, and might as well one more time. Fuck you, Lucky Charms. And, you know, then he falls down a well, and he kind of pops back up, and his face is all fucked up, and they hit him with the butt of the shotgun, pour a whole can of gas down the well, light the well.
We have a Michael Bay moment.
Yeah, it was definitely Michael Bay. Actually, I don't know. That explosion might not have been big enough for Michael Bay, and it didn't hide any plot holes.
Maybe. True.
But then, you know, the cops all show up after the fact, and then you hear him talking about that's where his soul was going to be trapped until he could get his powers to break the curse. And it ends. And that's, that's the movie. So, definitely, I think, for one, I can tell compared to the other movies I've watched for this, it's definitely had the highest production value. I think, you know, like, Night Flyer was like 600,000 or 700,000 maybe, if that. Schlock was like under 100,000, and then Armageddon was like 3,000. So you can tell, you know, they definitely did have some better effects here and there. There wasn't a ton of like effects, I guess, other than practical makeup.
Yeah, I was gonna say the makeup on Warwick for the Leprechaun is actually pretty good considering the time, especially.
Well, you know, there was a special thanks to George Lucas at the end. He's like, if you're gonna take my boy, you're gonna do his makeup.
Yeah,
you're gonna do his makeup right. So, let's see. Between trash, hot ass trash, I think I'm going to give this one hot, or just trash. It was definitely better than all the rest of the stuff we've watched for the cast so far.
Yeah, I would probably agree. Somewhere between trash and hot trash. Like, leaning towards that. I think more so once you start getting into the sequels is where you get to the hot ass trash.
Yeah, well, you know, I got my $10 at least out of this one. So yeah. I did come across... that's the other thing. I watched this on Blu-ray, so I'm not 100% sure where it's streaming. So, if you do want to watch this, you can try to find it streaming, or you can go my route, which was all 7 movies on Blu-ray for $10 at Walmart. Mm-hmm. That was a couple of weeks ago, but, I mean, it's a good rate. I think I got my $10 out of this one, because
for sure.
I understand, like, In the Hood and In Space are... not very good.
I want to see In the Hood so bad.
Well, we'll get there. Yeah. We'll get there. So, all right, yeah, that's it. For this episode, as always, you can find me at theaveragejoesmovieclubcast.com, or I'm sorry, at gmail.com. Hit us up with an email. I am on Letterboxd at letterboxd.com/Joey_P. Those are the two main ways to find me. Also, the Average Joe's Movie Clubcast Facebook page. You can leave a comment there, do the email. If someone wants to ask you some questions or follow you, where can they do that?
Probably Letterboxd would be the best bet. I don't really use Twitter or anything much. So you can find me at Autumn Rose on Letterboxd.
Yep. She's not the most active person on there, but she does, and you'll see it is all just British and horror movies. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Part. Or any drama with Adam Driver.
Or anything with Adam Driver. If you see her watching something else that doesn't fit those descriptions, you can probably click in her friends, find me, or the Night Flyer, and boom, there it is. She watched it with us.
Yep.
So be on the lookout. I think the next episode after this one, because it should be out in the early part of November, the next one after this will be the Thanksgiving special coming on Thanksgiving Day. So, you can enjoy us on your ride to or from your family's house. And we will be watching, I can only imagine that it's a masterpiece with the name Thanksgiving.
Yes.
So with that, thanks everybody. Have a good night.
Night.